Okay, Parashat Bamidbar. So, Parashat Bamidbar is one of the most boring parasha. So sorry to say that. You barely have Rashi. That's a good thing, by the way. You don't need to go through a lot of Rashi. But he goes through all of the names, Shemot, Galim, again and again and again. The whole purpose is for what? So it said, Rashi said at the beginning, since mitoch chibatan lefanav, Hashem has chiba, Am Yisrael are precious to Hashem, and therefore he count them kol shah, every hour. Okay, well, we have to question every hour, but it's a chiba to count Am Yisrael. So I'm okay if it's chiba for you to count me. So count me. What if he does this long counting? Meaning,
count me in.
Tell me, tachles, how much we have? 12 million, 600,000, okay, 600,000. We have long list of each one according to the tribe, the shevet. Meaning, it seems to be that you don't want anybody to have a mistake. Like, when you count money, if it's too much for you. So each one according to his level, separate stock at a time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I have the amount together. That's not, what do you need for the counting? Counting should be, so you want to count us. Give me a total number. What do you need this headache for? I mean, again, we can appreciate that now you don't need to do, those who do Rashi, you don't need to do Rashi for the Shtai Mikro, you have less Rashi. But the whole point, if it's a million to count Am Yisrael, I can do it without all this long counting. Number one, number two, so it says, Hashem count, it says it's special chiba to count Am Yisrael. So is that good to count? Ken, it's chiba for Hashem. But we see that somebody who count, יכול למות. So if it's chiba, from the same thing you can die, that's a chiba. This is where Hashem show you love. Doesn't make sense, doesn't it? Weiter, there are 3 times that we're being counted when we came out of Mitzrayim, after Chet HaEgel, and by Akamat HaMishkan, when we erect the Mishkan, this is where we won't count it. So obviously we need to find the connection between the 3. Yetziat Mitzrayim, Chet HaEgel, Akamat HaMishkan. But the interesting part is Chet HaEgel, on the same line. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu count us after Chet HaEgel? Because he killed us, nachon? So since we died, they need to count us again. This is a chiba. After killing us, to count us, don't kill us, don't count us. Meaning, this is how you define chiba, to count us. If Am Yisrael increase in number and Hashem wants to count, that's a chiba. But if Hashem killed Am Yisrael and that's why he needs to count, you don't feel any chiba bichlal.
He wants to know how many people he killed.
So count those who were killed. Why do you count us? By the way, much easier. That's a good question. If Hashem should count how many were killed, detect that from Am Yisrael, you have the number. Why do you need to count again? Because of what they died. Count the...
There's no subtraction.
Also, much easier, less counting.
But there's no subtraction. Where do you see subtraction so much?
They didn't know much?
No, they did.
No, but the concept, by the way, we know, the Torah says how many died. 3,000 and something, right? So, we know how many died. Just subtract that from Am Yisrael, you have the number, then count again. Weiter, as we know, that Parashat Truma, one of there are three Trumat Shkalim. One of the time the Trumat Shkalim was to count Am Yisrael. So how do you count Am Yisrael? You count Shkalim for each one, and then you know the total number. It sounds like a joke. I mean, you make. There are many ways to count minyonim. You have Hoshia et Amecha. I have Baruch Ata Hashem Kol Nechal HaMautzi Lechem Min Haaretz. I used to teach in a yeshiva. That Rabbi was there at the beginning. Rabbi, איך קראו לו? בן חמו? Yeah. It's like high school. So Rabbi over there was like a special program. So Rabbi Ben Chamu, I heard once Rabbi Ben Chamu counting for minyan, דם צפרדע.
הייתי חושב.
אתה מכת בחרות, Meaning, so, when you count, I'm waiting like in Haaretz, or by the way, I heard a new one. I didn't count במניין, השם יתברך, השם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי, ותמיד יהיה לי רק טוב. And if you have more, ועוד יותר טוב. That's another way to count. But again, I mean, what are you making it? Who are you fooling? Basically, you get a number through shkalim, so you know the number. What's the whole idea of shkalim בכלל? Weiter. And the Torah says the whole concept of yichus. So the Torah says if the mother is from one shevet and the father from another shevet, what do? You go by the shevet of the father. Who cares? Why would you go? Come and say the mother, man, she's a nobody. Why don't give him the option to choose? Give him the option either about father or mother. But all this counting seems to be it's around father. I mean, that's my question. Who cares, father or mother? We need a number, נכון? Give me the numbers. Who cares about the father or the mother? Which family it goes?
Shevet.
Huh?
Shevet.
Yeah, but the whole concept of Shatim now, who did the counting? Who had to be present in the counting? The נשיאים. איפה אנחנו? ואיתכם יהיו איש איש למטה, איש ראש לבית אבותיו. Each one from איש איש למטה, where did I see that? ואיתכם יהיו כשתפקדו אותם, יהיה עמכם נשיא כל שבט ושבט. Okay, so, and then the Torah says, why do we need the נשיאים? We need the נשיאים to help us counting. So you need a representative from each שבט to do the counting, לכאורה. And then he says, אלה קרואי העדה, הנקראים לכל דבר חשיבות שבעדה. This is everybody being called, the נשיאים are being called for anything חשוב in the congregation, they're being called. מה הקשר עכשיו? Tell me, I know are the נשיאים, they are the נשיאים of עם ישראל. We're describing them as those who are being נקראים לכל דבר חשיבות שבעדה. Another question, by the way, Hashem needs to know how much we count? Does Hashem needs to know how many we are? Hashem knows. אנחנו אומרים, ואתה יודע את מספר כולם. We're saying it in מוסף של ראש השנה. You know מספר כולם. Hashem knows everybody's number. Why do we need בכלל Hashem to tell us that, to count us? Now, Hashem has חיבה, נכון? Hashem likes us? Okay, so you know how many you have. Why do you need us to count for him? Nothing flows over here.
Right, he should do the counting.
Yeah, it's for him, נכון, אנחנו עובדים בשבילו, and also you can do it faster, אחי.
No, אנחנו כן עובדים
You put it on ChatGPT, here's a number. השם, שמיים GPT, כן, או קלוד. Okay. Another one, we have the מטה לוי. So מטה לוי, Hashem says, אך את מטה לוי לא תפקוד. So why? Hashem saw there will be גזרה on all those who were counted, they're going to die in the Bamidbar because of the meraglim. Hashem said, you know what? I have a way. Levi, I don't want him to die, so I'm going to make sure they're not going to be counted. Hashem, what about us? Don't count us, we're not going to die. If that's a way, if because of counting they die, and Hashem eliminate the Levim from the counting, so Hashem shouldn't count us בכלל.
Is that of love?
Huh?
Is that of love?
Yeah, if you love us, you love Bnei Levi. Well, what's going on? And then Hashem said, by the way, Bnei Levi are in charge on... Bnei Levi are in charge to...
He counts them anyway.
Huh?
He counts them anyway.
Then he count them later, and then they're in charge on Mishkan HaEdut. Meaning, what's the connection? Don't count them, and they're in charge of the Mishkan HaEdut to travel to take the Mishkan. What's going on over here? I think we see the following. There's time an opening question. What's the concept of Yichus? You know, whenever somebody says, this is a choshuv girl for a shidduch,
His grandfather was.
I'm getting worried. So that's choshuv. What makes a choshuv girl? No. Very choshuv dik family. What means the family choshuv? Father has long beard? I'm sorry.
Usually means the girl has nothing else good.
What?
If they say that, it means the girl has nothing else good.
So, you know, I think the Kotzker Rebbe said that Yichus, it's a zero. You need to have the number. You need to have a number before the zero for you to have Yichus. The Yichus to Kotzker Rebbe.
They say
Okay. Yeah. So anybody, but what's important? Who cares who's your father to make who you are? Be who you are because of yourself. Why do you need your father to define? He's coming from this Choshuv Dik family. Okay, that's Choshuv. Who cares? I asked once a Rosh Yeshiva. I have two shidduchim of her. One is the daughter of a koila guy. The other one is the daughter of a big gvir. Gvir, rich guy. So I asked Rosh Yeshiva, which shidduch should I go for? He said, go for the gvir. So I said, but the Gemara says, Lo yelo misa adam bat talmid chacham. Any man needs to marry the daughter of talmid chacham. So he didn't chap. I said, what's the pshat? He said, why it's important to marry the daughter of talmid chacham? A girl who grew up in a house of a father, the talmid chacham, she has a musogim of growth to empower her husband. She saw her father till late at night, studying, learning, creating, doing. So that's the type of a girl that you need to look for. He said, the guy's in Koilel for till the age of 50. He didn't do much with himself. She didn't see any example of a father who being built up to be somebody. He said, but the daughter of the Gvir, of the rich guy, she saw her mother let him fly to China to get business, to come back, comes late at night. She saw a role model of a mother who let her father, husband to be, and she will develop you as well to that level. But the guy didn't do much with himself. Again, I'm not talking about the Talmid Chochem who put out for him and develop himself. I'm talking about the guy who's comfortable sitting in kollel without, do something with yourself. Go teach, produce, meaning write sport, meaning do something. That's the Indian. So what's the Indian of yichus of yichus lineage? Lineage. Okay. So something there is a big problem of being a Jew. I married a couple Monday. Got married, and basically I gave them the following message, which seems to be nice but horrible as well. The Gemara in Psochim says that the requirement of a chasana, you need a shidduch, you need a minyan. Why do you need a minyan for a shidduch, for a chasana? For brit, for example, you don't need a minyan. Chatuna. Sorry. And so, too much Ashkenazi. מחילה. I want you to understand. כמו התפילה שעשיתם.
שתי אשכנזים פה.
כן, זה גם התפילה שלו.
לא, זה יוצא לי ככה, אני אפילו לא חושב. So on a wedding, so on a חתונה, so when חתן וכלה are getting married, so the Gemara says it require a minyan. And by brit, which that's bring you also, באותו של אברהם אבינו, you don't need a minyan. What's the difference? So Roshida said the following. He said that getting married, marriage, a family, it's an institution. You're building an institution of your own institution. That's why anything related to Shlom Bayit, you can't say she didn't do, I don't need to do. It's an institution that you have 100% responsibility to give to. So he said, when you build this institution, you can't build your own institution. You incorporate it into the institution of Am Yisrael. So you have your own institution within institution of Am Yisrael. So if you want to join Am Yisrael, you need board members to approve your request.
Making a shell company.
You're making a shell company, so you need permission from Am Yisrael. So therefore therefore you need a minyan. So that means, and I said it to couples, usually the man is the more problematic one. So he said, I have no patience, I don't want to work with my marriage. Enough, I have no koach. I'm like, it's not your marriage. You owe it to Am Yisrael. And you need to understand that you have to do everything, and I told the couple, it's on you to make sure each one of you 100% to make this marriage successful. You cannot say, I don't want to make it successful because I need only koach. I mean, it's not about you koach. It's not about you, this marriage, it's about the institution. So there is a paradox in Am Yisrael. When you are a Jew, you're part of a nation, so you're becoming nobody. You're part of, basically, and especially our halachas, our congregation, our tzibur, you're becoming like one of everybody. Who are you as a Jew? What makes you feel good as a Jew? On the other side, the goyim, they're also nobody control the goy. You can do whatever you want. We're driving in Richmond. Richmond? Virginia. Stam, Abu Dhabi, they're looking for a minyan years ago. No, not recently. 25 years ago, we did a road trip to New York. At the beginning, I thought it's fun, So I did a road trip, Israeli road trip. Somebody gave us a Jeep. Back then, Jeep, Israeli, זה היה כאילו... כן, זה Lamborghini Jeep היה אז, כן. So we drove it for them to New York. It was ממש... So we thought it was supposed to be fun. So I saw going walking over there, and then he hit me like, who is this guy in the whole universe? In one hand, he's somebody, he's on, but in the one hand, he's a nobody. Nemala is nothing. Who are you? Am Yisrael has these two versions within us. In one hand, we are part of a big institution, big company. I mean, you never see a guy getting excited. I was in Base Mordechai. I was in Best Mordechai. I was in Best Mordechai. I was in Best Mordechai Wednesday night for late minyan.
This was appetizer.
And we were missing one guy for the minyan, classic. And then somebody walks in. Everybody was so excited. Do you see it by a goy? I don't think there is any time that a goy needs another goy. When do you need another goy? There is no minyanim over there. There is nothing. I mean, as far as I know, I have no idea, But I don't think they're minyan, this concept of minyan, that you, the last one, create the whole group. So we have two sides in Am Yisrael. In one end, we are part of the group. On the other end, we are making the group. Every person needs within himself those two. You got to be part of a group, but you got to have individuality. Because if you are not part of the group as an individual, you are nobody and you do things that are not correct. Because you're just about yourself. But if you're only part of the group, then you are nobody. Being nobody,
Your follower.
you're a follower, so who are you? You know, being a follower, there is no point in life. Hashem wants us to serve Him as leaders, as people who takes pride. The whole idea of counting, I need to count you as individual, while I'll keep you part of the institution. That's part of Am Yisrael. Hashem, in theory, can count us, obviously, and knows the number of who we are. But Hashem, the Gemara says, "Mitoch chibatan lefanav min ha'am." Hashem counts us because we are precious to Him. What makes us who we are? So we said, our uniqueness that we are a group, but on the same time we are individuals. So when you have the blend, and we'll see the power of the individual as well soon, when you have the blend between the group and the individual, if you have two components, that's the version that Hashem loves, and that's how Hashem likes you and wants you to be. So Hashem tell Am Yisrael, how are you supposed to count Am Yisrael? You're supposed to get the Nesi'im to count. Why? What makes you into individual? Okay, we count you, okay, you're individual, so what? Who are you as individual? What is your kochot? What is your ability? Anybody, if you count yourself, right, your individuality, it's to you. For example, if I count how much Sfarim I have, the meaning of the book, it's for me. But if somebody else counts how many books I have, there is a different meaning to the books. Which means he has interest of how many Sfarim I have, how many books I have. Which means, if I am counting myself individual, okay, if I need to put a number here, I'm number one. If you want to count Am Yisrael, I'm putting Chatzi Shekel. If I'm counting myself, so which matter, the matter of the number, it's to me. If the president of my tribe is the one who counts me, I matter to him as individual. Which means as individual, what makes you individual if you make a difference to somebody else? What you're helping, yeah, you're impressing. Because to individual to yourself, you're like the go enrichment. Okay, it's correct, individual. I need somebody else to count me, and that shows to me how special I am. If he needs to count me, it means that he machshiv me, he appreciates me so much, and he wants to know how many of mine there are in the world, which how many? One. There is only one mind in the world being counted, meaning individuality must come when somebody else empower you and admire you to be the individual. You cannot empower yourself to be individual. Two things. If you empower yourself to be individual, you're not part of the group. It's you. If you empower yourself to be individual, then you separate yourself from the group. Your individuality must come from the group. The group wants to know who you are. We need your number. We need your place. Therefore, the Torah says, who is supposed to be the one who counts you? Nesi'ei Eda, and the Gemara give a description, Anashim Chashuvim. If Chashuv person, like for our generation, if Moshe Feinstein would have said, I need to know how many boys are in Shorashim. What do you feel? Wow. He cares about every boy in Shorashim. Nachon? Shorashim that today. We want to know. So that shows me that how special I am because somebody Chashuv wants to know my number. But it's not only wants to know that, if he wants to know my number, that means I'm special. But I'm special only through him. So I'm getting in individuality while I'm part of the tzibur. So my relevance as individual must be built within the needs of the tzibur that might make my specialty. By the way, that's why we count by shkali, we don't count the person himself. If you count you yourself, so it's about you. Shkalim shows you that the numbers of you come elsewhere. It's not about the number, the individual, it's about who are you compared to the whole shkalim together, to the whole group. That's a significant. And therefore, that's the chilba of Hashem toward us. Hashem doesn't want us to be followers. Hashem wants us to be leaders while we are part of the tzibur, part of who we are. We have our own place. That's all the sort of concept of yichus, lineage. Who is your father makes a difference to what? Why we don't go by the mother? So the Gemara says in Kedushin that imo meshadalto bedvarim. What's the power of a mother? To make you feel good about yourself, to love you, you love yourself. The father give you the power to be a builder, to create, to move forward. So who are you as an individual makes a big difference who is your father. Like I said in the Shidu. Because if your father is the one who empowers you to be the individual, but again, you're not yourself, you're being empowered by your father.
Who your father is.
Right. My father, Zichrono Livracha, used to say, by the name of the Gaon Bevilna, he said, Mishle Shlomo ben David, Melech Israel. That's the Meshalim of Shlomo, the son of David, king of Israel. So the Gaon Bevilna, the Gro asked, he said, why do we need to say who was Shlomo? We know Shlomo is ben David. מה, אתה לא יודע? אין Shlomo in the history. So the Gaon Bevilna said, my father always liked to quote it, he said, who am I? I'm ben David. I'm not Shlomo. I'm a nobody as Shlomo. What makes me, my father made me to be Shlomo. That's why I'm Shlomo. I'm the king of Israel. I'm so special, but only because that my father made me to be Shlomo. If I made myself to be Shlomo, you're worthless. Then you individual will take control of the world by yourself. Now we understand what was the significance about Chet HaEgel. So after Chet HaEgel, Hashem had to count us again. Why after Chet HaEgel we need to count again? What happened in Chet HaEgel? Bnei Israel, Rashi says, in Chet HaEgel, she'ivu le'elohut harbe, which means, Bnei Israel saw that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't show up on time. If Moshe Rabbeinu didn't show up on time, what do you need to do next? We need a different God. Nachon? What's the necessity to have a different God? Who is the God? You choose your own God. Nachon? If you choose your own God, means what? That you are your own individual. Because you need God, you need somebody else to empower you to be who you are. If I need to choose my God, that means I am the center of the world and God will serve me. Meaning, I'll choose to serve Him, but God will be there for me. In Chet HaEgel, Am Yisrael, this group of individuals, a bunch of individuals, who wanted to be solely for themselves and not part of the tzibur of the organization. If you're not part of the organization of the tzibur, then you are nobody. Hashem needs to kill everybody in Chet HaEgel, those who were individuality on the wrong way. Then Hashem had to count us again, to give us again, because after Chet HaEgel we felt lost. Who are we? We have a bunch of us who want to have their own individuality. Hashem need to count us again in order for Him to give us the ability to join back and to get individuality back through Hashem. It says that after Hashem counted Am Yisrael, all those Hashem counted died in the desert in the Midbar, except the Levim that Hashem didn't count. And the Shaila is, why Hashem didn't count? If the counting caused to die in the Midbar, if so, why Hashem count us and why not count the Levim? What was special about the Levim? There are two ways to be individual part of the tzibur.
What was special about the Levine?
Listen up.
I was from them.
There are two ways to be individual. One way, we just said, being empowered to be individual. But there is another way to be individual. When you take care of the tzibur and do what the tzibur need, of the congregation. Bnei Aleviim, they were in charge. The Gemara says, what was, it's interesting, why the Levim weren't part of the counting? What would you think? Why they're not part of the counting? What's special about the Levim, the Kohen? What? No, so Rashi says, because of the job. What's the job of the Levim?
To worship
What's the job that...
To serve
Oh.
to help the Kohen.
No. What's the job that gave them the right not to be counted?
to carry the kidding for me.
Schleppers.
Schlepper.
נכון? Why schlepper? So the Gemara says, the Gemara says, in the end of Bamidbar, the Gemara says, Oma Rabbi, מעולם לא ראיתי צבי קייץ. I never saw a tzvi, a deer, which is cut, needs to cut קייץ the tenim, cut figs. Shual chenvani, a fox being a merchant, like it's tricky, and Ari, and a lion being...
סוכן ביטוח.
לא. מה זה lion? I didn't say lion being סבל, a schlepper. Why Ari, a lion, is supposed to be the schlepper? I understand why the fox needs to be a chenvani, and needs to be a merchant. But to make a lion a schlepper, what's the final layer of a schlepper? What's the definition of a schlepper? Schlepper means somebody who אין schlepper, כן?
כן,
אני לא יודע, חסן is schlepper. Okay. Some people schlep the chasene. They drag the chasene, schlepping. Okay. What's special about schlepper? I have a suitcase, כן? Somebody else?
הוא מחזיק מה שאתה לא רוצה.
No, that. Somebody else carried the suitcase for me. What's special about that? Giving me personal service. If somebody at the cashier received my money in order to get into
His job, though.
my room, you are the cashier, okay? If somebody offer you a job, Rafi, you're Moroccan, it's a good example. Somebody offer you a job, you want to be in the cashier $25 or schlepper 30?
Schlepper 30.
No.
Oh,
אתה לא מרוקאי,
That's the wrong person.
Right? That's the wrong person? Okay, no, because you're special, okay. But the idea is being a
אני
schlepper.
משלם מישהו $5
No.
That's what I was saying.
He's like, I keep the cupboard and
That's what I was saying.
Schlepper, the biggest issue of schlepper, I personally service you. What's schlepper? I'm taking care of your needs, and I'm acting on your personal slave. Moshiva said that the old services of giving tip is when you are treating somebody as a slave. That's why a worker, you might be able to give tip. A contractor, you don't give tip. Even though they did the same. A contractor, you ask you tip me, no, I'm not going to tip you.
Do your job.
But if somebody serves you personally, you lower him to be below you. You need to give him tip. A lion, a king, it's somebody who's schlepping what you need. That's the definition of a schlepper. Or the Leviim. The Leviim want the schlepper of Am Yisrael. That makes them schlepper. But the schlepper means, Rafi, the schlepper means that I'm taking care of real need of somebody else. That's what the Leviim, they don't need to be counted. When do you need to be counted? What's special about the Leviim? Either you have your individuality being empowered by others, but if you're taking care of somebody else, that's the biggest power in the world ever. As rabbis, we deal with people, you know. I had recently somebody complain about me that I didn't answer his phone call when he needed me. And he doesn't know. But he knows. And I was busy with, buying the new shorashim, etc. But if you think about it, why are you upset on me that I didn't answer you? Basically, I spend hours and hours with the guy. Many hours as needed, whatever is needed for. Then suddenly he needed me, really. He was very desperate and needed me. And I didn't answer him. Why is that? Because he's treating us as schleppers. We are schlepping their problem. But it is. We're schlepping your problem. Dealing with some people's problem, it's I don't want to say it's tough. It's like it's so difficult time. And all day, because people have issues you have to deal with. We're becoming a schlepper, and people treat you as a schlepper. When you take care of somebody's real needs, dealing with your own personal issues, you're becoming a schlepper to the guy. Become a schlepper to the guy, that makes you the head. The Gemara says that the top level of Am Yisrael is like, it's I think Ta'as Tamid HaChachomim, the Gemara says in Bobas Riyud. And then you have Melamde Tinokos. Second level on the top of Am Yisrael is teacher for kids. You're schlepper when you teach kids. It's not about you, you're schlepping, that's what Hashem, this is the highest level for Hashem. ככוכבים, מה זה לשון? ומצדיקי הרבים ככוכבים לעולם ועד. מצדיקי הרבים, מלמדי תינוקות is one of the highest level in the world. Because when you're schlepping somebody else, that's what makes you the real individuality. So the Gemara said, if you cannot marry the daughter of the biggest Talmid Chochem, you need to daughter marry the of מלמדי תינוקות. Somebody who schleps somebody else. Therefore, the Leviim cannot be part, they don't need to be counted בכלל. למה? They have already individuality by taking care of somebody else. Am Yisrael must be counted. Lama? Because they need a feeling of individuality. They didn't have it. Therefore, Hashem said, Levi, I can exclude them from the counting because they are the schleppers. They have their own place. But Am Yisrael cannot. What happened to Am Yisrael eventually? This group that were counted eventually by the Meraglim, by the spies, they sinned. And the Gemara says, in Dvarim, "Vatikravun alai kulchem." Moshe Rabbeinu accused Am Yisrael. You all came together, and she says, "B'irbuvia." You came like a cholent, everybody together to complain about the Meraglim. What do you mean everybody come together? Because each one was his own place. I'm not part of the group. When you're part of the group, you appoint somebody to talk on your behalf. This group of Am Yisrael, unfortunately, couldn't handle it, and they weren't part of the group. There were a bunch of individuals, and Hashem had a need to eliminate them in order for Am Yisrael to continue. think now we understand why it's so precious to count. On the other way, and if you count, you die. Because if you're counting yourself, you make yourself individual to yourself, then you are nobody. You have no right to be in this world. Our right in this world is either part of the tzibur that I'm supporting the tzibur, or a schlepper that's giving to the tzibur. That makes you the right to exist. You're not in this world to take everything. I met a guy who has a little bit money, interesting fellow. He told me, he said, all of my property, when I'm going to die, everything had full mortgage on them. I don't leave anything to my children. He said, that's how I came here. My father didn't leave me anything, and I don't leave anything. I enjoy my money. That's individual who just live himself. I mean, a healthy father, the Gemara wants to take care of somebody else. I asked the Rosh Hashiva once, what's the right thing? Somebody asked me, he had to write a will, and he doesn't want the money to be given to tzedakah. And so what should you do? No, so he wants family and he wants tzedakah. So he said, this is not sure what to do, but he said, why my family need this money? Let me give it to tzedakah and live for my family a little bit. So Rosh Hashiva told me, no. Because you're giving a message to your kids that my life is not your life. What I worked for, the Gemara says in Bamidbar, when Resh Lakish died, it said on him, is Korah al himself, v'azvu la'achirim chilam. Left for other, מה זה chayil? Chayil is my success. When you leave your success to your children, you show the children, you're part of me, you're part of my success, take it. So I asked the Rosh Hashiva, what about, so he said maybe you should give it to the kids while he's still alive, give everything to the kids. So he told me, no, because they might going to use the money on the wrong way, it's going to bother him. So he said that's why you have to save it. But he said give them the money and ask them to give tzedakah wherever they feel to. So then I trust you giving tzedakah. I'm giving you, there is a trust, everybody have trust. Simon Limedoti. So one of the gifting, there is gifting trust that you put money in a trust that your children in charge to give it to. And after 20 or 30 years, it goes to them. They were trained for many years giving tzedakah. That's an American concept. So then, eventually, they will continue contributing and giving money. So that's v'azvu la'achirim chelam. It's a responsibility of a father. I'm giving you who I am. But if you're counting yourself who you are by yourself, you're dead. You're nobody. That's why I say, when Hashem counts us, by the way, why Hashem doesn't need to count us? Because they got to come within us. We as Am Yisrael, empowering him to be Am Yisrael. Now we understand what's the chiba, what's so precious to Hashem to count us. When we count, what are we doing to Am Yisrael? We give each one the feeling, you're the most choshev here. Sometimes you see a number of people. Now, if I wouldn't be part of it, the number will be one digit less in the whole world. Oh, I'm somebody. When you're counting each other, when the Nesiim, when everybody counting each other, it's the biggest feeling that the Jew can give somebody else that you are so special. You are so powerful. I count you. You're part of me. That's the biggest chibah for Hashem, to see us as a tzibur in one and as individual. I do want to conclude with something sensitive that we're going through it a lot. The yeshivish classic system, there is no perfect system in the world, okay? We all think that we are the best one. So if you're modern Orthodox, you think that's the right one. If you're Litvak, you think, no, they're going to say, no, man, Nisim, Hashem, we have an ability to say it. Meaning, every chassid sure that his chassidus is the best chassidus, yeah? We all sure that who we are is the best one. Because if not, we would have moved, we're not stupid. So we need also to assure ourselves that we are the best one. But the problem is, in every sect, every area in Am Yisrael, we have issues, we have problems. And the more the Torah you have, I'm sorry to say, the more problems they are. We've been joking a lot recently, Arav and I, that, Yasa Bocher, those come to the yeshiva, where are you from? Jersey. Tagid Lakewood, say Lakewood. They don't want to say this, I was in Lakewood this week, so I said, where were you? Jersey. I learned from the Shubrach. I learned from the Tzibur, He said, you don't say Lakewood, he said Jersey. Why? Because they feel uncomfortable in Lakewood. There was so much Torah and so much pressure. But Rafi, with your face of like, what they're going through, every society had that issue. When you're part of a group is very pressured environment that you must be part of it. And anybody who wants individuality can do it, but you have a responsibility to stay part of the group. Which means you can put down a Rabbi who gave you a hard time, okay? Let's say it was a bad guy who officially knows a lot of more, blah, blah, and he really behaved with you in an inappropriate way. Tell them this is a shame. You can put individuals down within the society, but you cannot put the society down. You know, those people in Lakewood disaster. Why are you to say those words? Because certain people got hurt, but you know how many didn't get hurt? So on the one hand, we are part of a society. If you want to create individuality, you know, a guy told me I'm not wearing hat jacket anymore. I don't want to feel part of it. I'm like, but you can't change the. Don't try to get individuality to be different than the group. Stay part of it and be different. You know, the classic example is, my brother-in-law told me once, we have a minion in the top floor in our shul. He said the most choshuv people over there. He said nobody ever smiled. You know, this is the most choshuv people in the. So people who don't smile, so you became choshuv. So if you're upset on it, what do you need to do? Like what Rafi just said. Stay with that. Stay who you are and smile. I share with you, when I go to Eretz Israel, nobody say, good Shabbos. So I was in Eretz Israel with my wife. We were walking back from the Kotel to the city. And I said, Vayala, good Shabbos to everybody. So good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Few people didn't even respond. I found it was Arabs. But also, Frum people didn't respond. And I said to her, like, what's going on? And then I realized I was not as confident saying good Shabbos to them. It's one thing being turned down by a non-Frum guy, didn't say Shabbat Shalom to you. But when you say to a Frum guy being intimidated and telling him good Shabbos, it doesn't answer you, you feel, so even your good Shabbos is not strong enough. So I said, okay, when we see Frum people, I'm going to raise my voice. Okay? So if I'm saying, good Shabbos, then you say, good Shabbos. Meaning, you treat them as something and you make up stuff, they don't say Shalom, and because of you. Because of you. Meaning, if you want to change, stay within the Chevre, and you can get the society change. Both here in Shorashim, you know, we have a lot of a very warm environment. We're still Frum, we wear hot jacket, whoever needs. But it's all about stay who you are within, because the society, it's needed. You cannot live without. And in order to grow, you need infrastructure, you need the people, you need the ches, you need everything. Stay within the society, but stay who you are. Give yourself individuality. How? Give to others. Take care of others. Make a difference within the society. That's the best way to live it and still to stay in. Shabbos.